France is losing Africa. In the last 3 years, there have been 8 different coups d'etats in former French colonies: Mali, Chad, Burkina Faso, Guinea, last month Niger, and today Gabon. It's not a coincidence that all these countries in the same region at the same time have revolts against the system created by the same colonizer. These are not just coups d'etats, they are coups d'etats against France. This is the entire region telling the French to get out and go home. These countries never experienced independence until now. Former French President Charles de Gaulle engineered this neo-colonial system called France-Afrique to maintain French influence and control of Africa. So France will help put a stooge in power like Bazoum or Bongo, offer them military assistance, in exchange, of course, for surrendering all the country's natural resources and mineral wealth to France. Look at Niger's uranium or Gabon's oil. How can Niger and Gabon be so rich and yet that wealth is not seen in the people? Who is benefiting here exactly? The French companies and the French state, of course, who own those resources. Now, France claims all these coups are dangerous and African countries will lose democracy and legitimacy and security because France won't help fight them, the jihadists that France helped create. And then they will lose all this foreign development aid. Well, who's really losing out here? It's France that is losing control of Africa, not the other way around. Africa does not need France. The French are in such denial of what is happening right now. Look how Macron is so desperate to keep Africa under French rule. Even his ambassador refuses to leave Niger. The government in Niger has revoked the French ambassador's credentials and visas. So he is no longer a diplomat and has no right to be in the country, and yet he still refuses to leave. Macron, instead of recalling his ambassador and telling him, shame on you for embarrassing me and embarrassing the country, he encourages him. This is unbelievable. You know, when you're in somebody else's house and they tell you to leave, you better leave. They shouldn't have to cancel your diplomatic credentials and your visas and have the police out looking for you like some missing child. This is their house. You are a guest in their country. The French would do well to remember that. That is the problem with the French government. They forget that they are guests in Africa. They are guests in Gabon, in Niger, Mali, Chad, and so on. They do not control it. The attitude that Macron exhibits, his military, his diplomats, is stinking and colonial, and that is exactly what the coups in Africa are all about. They are a rejection of neocolonialism. The African Union, ECOWAS, and all these international bodies that the French just so happen to support condemn these coups, but look how people are in the streets out celebrating. It's because they know that these coups are legitimate acts of independence. These coups, coupled with the expansion of BRICS, are true signs of decolonization as opposed to the 1950s and 60s, which were just really a facade and a reshuffling of European power in Africa and the Middle East. What's happening in West Africa right now is so obvious. It is a slap in France's face. It is independence for Africa and a goodbye to neocolonialism. One might even call it an African Spring, seeing all these countries regain of their destinies. France is losing. Africa is winning.